Previously on the worst crossover ever.
I can't believe it, but I think they're...
It's the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
The Power Rangers are just pretend, you know, comic book.
What is that?
Wait a minute. You're asking a turtle who lives in a sewer to explain a cosmic event?
And now, back to, help, my sister's an evil space queen. Let's just jump right into it, shall we?
The downside of making someone so categorically evil is that they suddenly don't really care about their previous loyalties. The thing is, Astronema followed Dark Spectre because the forces of evil raised her and made her believe her enemy was the Power Rangers. However, now that she's in full-on evil mode, she sees no reason to actually be loyal to Dark Spectre, opting instead to want to destroy him and take his place as the Grand Monarch of Evil. Her plan is brilliant, and we finally get something we've been wanting since the show began. Evil Power Rangers. These are the Psycho Rangers, and Psycho is a perfect description. The Psycho Rangers are completely insane, driven by psychopathic rage to destroy their Ranger counterparts to the point of single-minded obsession.
We're faster than you, smarter than you,
Stronger than you!
And they live up to that boast, easily able to outfight the Rangers. To make matters worse, they absorb the Rangers' minds and gain information about how they fight, meaning they can outthink them in battle. Where they came from is never really explained, though it's implied that they're actually monsters, transformed into this state because when they're forced to go giant-sized, they take on monstrous forms. However, Astronema didn't just bring the Psychos in to destroy the Rangers. She's tied their energy directly into Dark Spectre. That way, the more energy they burn up, the more Dark Spectre is diminished. As such, she repeatedly recalls the Psychos away from finishing off the Rangers because not enough of Dark Spectre has been drained. Still, even when they're recalled away, they do get their point across. The Psychos outfight the Rangers in every major encounter they have, even when it's just one or two of them. They do manage to start picking off the Psycho Rangers one at a time, but it's not easily done. Psycho Pink is the first to fall, and even then it's more because of the fact that the Psychos' own obsessions keep them from cooperating with each other. In my opinion, the highlight of the Psycho Rangers saga is 5 of a Kind. TJ comes up with the idea of swapping opponents for their next encounter, but the Psychos are easily able to switch them back around again and severely injure TJ. While TJ reviews the fight, the color on the monitor goes out, and he gets the brilliant idea of having everyone on the team wearing the same color.
I just noticed those plain. Well, I think they're supposed to be like chess pieces. I think those are the actual molds of the action figures of those characters, specifically the actual action figure molds. That's cute.
Not sure how the hell they all managed to get into Blue Ranger uniforms, but we'll pretend that they can do that. Another brief strategy they employ is to have Zane dress up as a silver Psycho Ranger and get in close enough to blast the Psychos. What's great about this episode is that it shows the team thinking outside the box in order to combat the Psychos. While the Psychos are still more powerful than them and are capable of putting up a damn good fight, seeing the Rangers actually being creative and utilizing new strategies is a major plus, and not done very often in previous series, where the most creative they got was a new one-off weapon or device. After the defeat of Psycho Blue, the last 3 Psychos managed to capture the Mega Voyager. The Rangers hunt after their Zords, finally locating it in a distant galaxy. While Zane distracts the Psychos, the Rangers attempt to retrieve the Zords. However, as it turns out, Psycho Yellow manages to use some kind of electronic possession ability to enter the Mega Voyager, taking control of it. Psycho Red takes on the Red Ranger personally, but help finally arrives in the form of the Astro Megazord. Psycho Yellow is expelled using the antivirus technique of hit it with a sword. All 4 Megazords go up against the remaining 3 Psychos and manage to destroy them. Dark Spectre survives the energy drain, but probably is weakened by the experience, as we'll see. The Rangers resume their search for Zordon in a single filler episode that feels completely at odds with what happened with the Psycho Rangers. Still, the Psycho Rangers weren't quite done yet. Their spirits survived as ghosts, somehow, unable to harm the Rangers or be seen by them. So we have evil monster ranger ghosts, but not robot ghosts? In Mission to Secret City, the plot revolves around a monster kidnapping hundreds of people, including Andros and Carlos, and bringing them to a secret city. The two can't morph, and the people are enslaved. However, before we get into that, I should talk about an awesome Bulk and Skull moment. Throughout the season, they've been mostly just very occasional comic relief, since most of the story has been about finding Zordon or the Astronomer reveal. However, in this case, when the monster first shows up, Bulk charges in.
Don't make me use this!
It's my new toaster!
Sure, it's only a small moment, but it is a prelude to what happens in the season finale. What's really awesome about this one is that the other Rangers hatch a plan to get to the secret city and go all commando, coming prepared with explosives, their blasters, and other equipment. All the Rangers really get to kick ass in this episode and come off as very professional. Andros and Carlos manage to escape thanks to Andros' battleizer. He decides to finally try the third setting on the battleizer, giving him the super armored form I mentioned that also grants him flight. Shockingly, the battleizer mode isn't just glitter. Sure, it's pretty much just a way to sell toys, but it's an entirely American concept that makes sense, upgrading weapons in the war against evil. Anyway, the secret city gets teleported away along with all the people inside of it. Astronema tests the device on Bulk, Skull, and Phenomenus that digitizes them and stores them as data cards. Astronema plans to use the device to transform people into a new army for conquering the Earth. The Rangers find the city again and infiltrate it, the ghosts of the Psycho Rangers following. The Rangers fall into Astronema's trap and are converted to data cards. However, despite the fact that the Rangers are defeated, the Psychos are so single-minded that they're pissed that they didn't get to destroy them. Hell, it's not even enough to crush the data cards. They have to kill them in person. And so they enter the machine and are reconstituted into actual beings before taking the Rangers' data cards from Ecliptor and changing them back to normal. While the Psychos and the Rangers fight, Zane is sent in to change the people back to normal. And of course, the first to be turned back are Bulk, Skull, and Phenomenus.
We were changed into data cards by aliens!
Genius is never appreciated in its time. Anyway, the Rangers lead the Psychos back into the facility, and the Psychos get converted into data cards themselves, where I'm sure we'll never see them again. The facility explodes before Zane can retrieve the Psychos' data cards, leaving them there. However, as it turns out, Astronema has gotten her hands on them. The Rangers are tricked into leaving the megaship to answer a false distress signal, leading to the Astro megaship being caught in a web created by the Dark Fortress. The web is impervious to their weapons, and the Rangers are cut off from their powers. Astronema sends Ecliptor to the megaship to take it over, leaving Alpha alone to defend it. Alpha manages to password protect the databanks and has to fend off Ecliptor throughout the episode with Decca's help. After a failed attempt to depressurize the cargo bay and send Ecliptor into space, Ecliptor manages to get access to the computer and learns the location of the Mega Voyager's hangar. The Rangers are rescued by Zane, along with his galactic rover, so we can squeeze out one last toy before the show ends. Ecliptor proceeds to supercharge himself with the ship's power and teleport to the Mega Voyager's hangar, where Zane engages him. However, in his charged state, he's able to fight off Zane and severely damages the Mega Voyager. Andros uses his battleizer to break through the web surrounding the ship, and in the ensuing battle, the Delta Megazord is also destroyed. They manage to stop Ecliptor, but it's a hollow victory now that they've lost one of their Megazords. There's one more episode before the finale, and it's technically a filler, but I want to talk about it anyway because it's just awesome. A Line in the Sand starts with Andros and Ashley walking through the streets at night. I like this for a couple of reasons. First and foremost being that we don't actually get a lot of shots or fight scenes at night in this show, so it's different in a good way. Next, it builds on the Andros and Ashley relationship that's actually been growing throughout the season. Sure, we never see them kissing like Tommy and Kimberly did, but little things like gifts, conversations, feeling bad for one another, or just being together more really helped build it up gradually. However, their date comes to an end when someone tries to run them over. It's a very ominous episode as they're stalked and attacked by a large Humvee. The action is great as the thing really does look like it's about to run them over before it hits 88 miles per hour. The format of this episode is different too. There aren't any Quantron fights like usual. Instead, in the beginning, it's just this monster, Tankenstein, stalking the Rangers in civilian form and trying to capture them. It's even more ominous as it teleports the Rangers to a desert, but doing so in a manner that shows that if it didn't, it would have run them down. Tankenstein's pretty damn powerful too, immune to the Rangers' weapons and blaster fire. The Rangers show some real competence as they keep trying to defeat it, but eventually all are transported to the desert. They get rescued by Zane, again, and it devolves into the standard giant monster fight, although this time the Mega Voyager does get destroyed, leaving the Rangers with just the Astro Megaship and the Mega Winger. And thus the season, for all its ups and downs, finally comes to a conclusion in Countdown to Destruction.
Summon all of my evil forces. They must all unite to finally take over the universe.
Let the battle begin!
The Millennium Message has come to pass. Dark Spectre rallies all the members of the United Alliance of Evil, with Astronema as the coordinating general. Divatox goes after the Aquitian Rangers, Zed and Rita attack Triforia.
It's great to be back in the game!
And the Machine Empire faces the Phantom Ranger and the Blue Centurion. Zordon is transferred to the Dark Fortress to witness it all.
You have a front row seat to the end of your era.
The Machine Empire also attacks the KO-35 rebels, who need reinforcements. Zane heads out to get the rest of the Rangers for help, but they inform him that the attacks are coming from every sector of the universe. The Rangers then detect a force of 1,000 Velocifighters heading straight for Earth. So the Rangers go there first. Zane faces the Velocifighters in the megaship, while the Rangers head down to the surface to confront the invading Quantrons and Piranatrons. It's no simple attack on the abandoned buildings district either. There's widespread destruction and ground troops just swarming everywhere. However, it's more than apparent as the fight continues that the Rangers are simply outnumbered. They try to free as many people as they can, but even the Battleizer mode isn't enough against so many. The Rangers, blasted repeatedly, power down and withdraw. Zane eventually vacates the megaship, I guess it's hiding behind the moon or something, it's not explained, and heads to the Mega Winger to deal with the remaining fighters. However, the sheer amount of Velocifighters finally overwhelms him and the Mega Winger is destroyed. The Rangers regroup in the rubble, not certain of what to do. On the Dark Fortress, Astronema plans to annihilate the Earth with a fighter equipped with a specially designed torpedo made strictly for planet busting. However, Darkonda overhears and, upon realizing that he only has one life remaining, decides to seize his chance for power. He steals the fighter and flies out to Dark Spectre, launching the Planet Buster at him. While the blast does destroy Dark Spectre, who I'm going to assume has also been weakened thanks to Astronema's efforts with the Psycho Rangers, he manages to destroy Darkonda in his final seconds. In the wake of Dark Spectre's death, Zordon tries to pull Corone free of the Astronema personality. While the implants short-circuit for a moment, she remains her evil self. Astronema takes supreme control over all the evil forces. Divatox takes it well.
Hey! What is everyone doing? Don't pray to her! You work for me!
Part 1 ends with the Dark Fortress looming over what remains of Angel Grove. As Part 2...
You know, I just realized something. If it weren't for the fact that they had a crossover with another popular kids franchise many episodes earlier, you know, the crossover with the Ninja Turtles, it makes me wonder, where are they in all of this? Because it's been established that that version of the Ninja Turtles exists in the same universe as Power Rangers, so it gets me thinking. Why didn't they have the Ninja Turtles show up to help out? It just makes no sense to me. It's like, why include that crossover when, you know, later on down the line in this big, you know, universe, you know, spanning battle that's devastating the Earth, why can't the Turtles, you know, make a surprise appearance to help them out? If not the Turtles, then maybe some Rangers from the past.
Hell, we saw Justin and Adam each come back for one episode, so why not have either of them come back for the finale? It just makes no sense to me. Oh well.
That would make sense, just to really give it, like, an even more giant scope of, you know, this really making it feel like the end of the Zordon era. I don't know. I just... These kinds of possibilities, I feel like, could have made the special even better than what it is already. Maybe I should write a show like this. Nah.
Begins, Astronema addresses the Earth, demanding that the Power Rangers be handed over to her by the next morning, or she'll annihilate the planet.
It's them or you!
Hey, don't worry, guys. If you lose the Rangers, you've still got the Ninja Turtles, at least. That night...
Exactly! Exactly! That's what I was saying! Where are the Turtles in all of this? Why can't they help?
Where are the turtles? Where are they?
Why am I overthinking this? It's Power Rangers. Why am I overthinking this?
the people are fearful that the Rangers have abandoned them.
Listen, everyone. The Rangers have never let us down before. We have to believe they'll be here.
We'll get back to Bulk and Skull in a minute, but it's always nice to see them stick up for the Rangers. The team discusses what to do. The idea of organizing a resistance with the civilians is thrown out because they don't want to risk people's lives. Andros wants to go to the Dark Fortress in one last effort to convince Astronema to stop all this, but the others say it's clear that his sister is gone. The Rangers get back to work, still optimistic that they'll pull through. Andros sneaks off to go to the Dark Fortress, but Ashley finds him. It's a tender moment between the two, and he begins to tell her something if he doesn't see her again, but...
I will see you again.
The next morning, the people have been gathered, and Astronema demands the Rangers be handed over. The Rangers get ready to step in, but they're given a little more time from the most unlikely of sources.
I am the Blue Ranger. I'm the Black Ranger.
And so, Bulk and Skull's journey is complete.
Spartacus.
The two who stand and stare down Astronema are not the same people who wanted to be taught karate so they could learn how to beat people up. Over the course of the series, we have witnessed their transformation from bullies to good-natured bumblers. But here we finally see them stand as heroes. While this season didn't really work towards that development very much, the Phenomena stuff wasn't included very often and didn't do much to advance their characters anyway, their development has been over 6 years. 6 years of running from monsters, coming up with plans, trying to be good police officers, acting as detectives, and even trying to live in the everyday world have shaped these two into people who will look evil in the face without fear. But their greatest moment still has yet to happen. As more people declare themselves to be Rangers, as well as being Spartacus, Astronema just decides to destroy them all.
We are the Power Rangers. Them?
I mean, have we ever even met Zane? As the Rangers leap into battle, that talk about not wanting to risk the lives of civilians is tossed aside as Farkas Bulkmeyer and Eugene Skulovich lead the charge.
Hold on, let's get in there! Who's with me?
Bulk and Skull's finest moment has arrived, fighting alongside the Rangers and bringing the ordinary people into the fight against evil. Not too shabby for the two who once got detention simply for failing an assignment. Meanwhile, Andros gets on board the Dark Fortress and creates a diversion, clearing the fortress's bridge. He seals himself in, finally coming face to face with the real Zordon. However, their reunion takes on a grim reality. Zordon explains that there's only one way to stop the forces of evil that have taken over most of the universe.
Shatter my energy tube.
No!
He says that the good energy contained in the tube will sweep over the universe, defeating everything that is evil. However,
I'll use my positive energy. Positive energy for days, Andros. I don't deal with negative energy in my life. Ain't nobody got time for that. Why am I so lame? I had a good joke there, but, you know, I just couldn't reach for it.
this means that Zordon will die, though he says that his spirit will live on in all that is good. Andros can't bring himself to do it, but Astronema comes in for the final battle with Andros. The two fight, or rather, Andros gets tossed around until he deflects one of her own blasts back at her. She collapses, and Ecliptor manages to get in, seeing what's happened to her. He's pissed, and Zordon once again asks Andros to do what he has to.
It is your duty as a Power Ranger to save the universe. I am Zordon, an interdimensional being caught in a time warp. You've been chosen to form an elite team to battle Rita. Finally, the prophecy has been fulfilled. The Sixth Ranger is now one of us. By giving his coin to another Ranger, Tommy can prevent Rita from gaining its power. It is the only way. You are a strong and courageous fighter, Green Ranger, and an honorable man. In your heart hearts, you will always carry the spirit of the Power Rangers, but your destinies lie elsewhere.
It was never my intention to deprive any of you a life experience such as this.
Day is upon us, and the time has come for you to accept the powers of the Zeo Crystal. Words can't express the gifts you have given me and the people of Earth. We will miss you dearly. You need each other now, and the world needs you.
That was cute. Not gonna lie, I kind of got a little choked up looking at that. But there was no mention of Richie. God damn it! Justice for Richie. Am I the only one who still remembers that guy? Probably. I'm sure even Linkara forgot about Richie as soon as he was done with this whole thing. Justice for Richie. Release the Richie cut.
And thus the Zordon era, and the continuous story of the last 6 seasons and 293 episodes comes to a close as Andros shatters the tube. And it's like Astronema said, he has a front row seat to the end of his era. The energy released sweeps across the universe. Ecliptor is reduced to dust. Mondo and Machina are equally destroyed, as well as Elgar, thank God. Rita and Zed are changed into human beings who gleefully start dancing together. Divatox becomes a woman in white, making her look an awful lot like Demetria, lending credence to the theory that the two were sisters. The civilians on Earth celebrate, but Andros lands the Dark Fortress and carries out Astronema's dead body to the others. And in what is the only real misstep of the episode, Andros cries and his tears bring her back to life. What a crock, especially in an episode that was otherwise taking itself pretty damn seriously. Really, I'm just going to assume that it was a coincidence and the Z-Wave, as it is called in fandom, just took a bit longer to affect her. The KO-35 rebels return to their homeworld to begin rebuilding, and the Rangers say their farewells to Andros, Karone, and Zane. Ashley wants him to stay with them.
KO-35 is my home.
However, as the megaship takes off, Andros is there.
My home is with you guys.
Hey, the Megazord's in the shop. Better ride to Earth.
And while the last season ended with the Rangers departing the Earth in defeat, the end of this one has them returning to it in victory. Power Rangers in Space is the final season that carries on directly from the previous one. From this point onwards, every season would start with an entirely original cast, save for Dino Thunder, but we'll get to that. Storylines were brought to a close, and Countdown to Destruction is considered by many to be one of the finest episodes in the entire show. From my own personal recollections, I can tell you that it's just as good as when I first saw it back then. Sure, there are things about it that I wish had happened, there are aspects like the magic tears that I wish had been done differently, but regardless of that, as an ending to all of Power Rangers, if this had been the true finale, it would have been awesome. This season is a space opera, and a glorious one at that. Unlike previous big bads, Astronema didn't usually bother with any ludicrous plans involving, say, making a Ranger want to continually eat all the time, or making them light as a feather. No, Astronema was a war general. She had an army that she utilized to fight the Rangers. Her goals were usually very specific, and while on one or two occasions they were downright downright goofy, most of the time she was very specific in her intentions. The recurring theme of this season, besides for the space opera, is ultimately the battle of good versus evil, and whether it's predestination that makes things evil, or is it by choice? The wasp monster with a heart, the Evilizer device, Corone becoming Astronema, and yes, even the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles being controlled to do evil. All ask the question of whether or not evil is something you can just be. The Wasp monster in particular raises some interesting ethical questions concerning the Rangers' actions. Every previous monster that they've encountered seems to be evil, but if monsters exist that actually are good and peaceful, who's to say that previous monsters they've encountered haven't just been browbeaten into having to serve evil? While the question remains unexplored, the episode serves as an excellent analog to what happened to Corone. Raised to be evil, but ultimately is good. And while it has its wooby moments, it's otherwise an excellent episode where we finally see Cassie really get pissed off. The look that she gives Astronema when the Wasp sacrifices itself for her could cut through steel. While I'm sure a lot of the themes are unintentional, there's a lot hinting going on with the filler episodes. There's also an episode where Astronema has to pretend to be Ashley and infiltrate the megaship. She has to pretend to be someone good to accomplish her goals. She's a good person, raised to be evil, impersonating someone good. It's a funny old world, isn't it? Ecliptor was a cut above the usual evil generals. He routinely kicked the Rangers' asses, but he had his own sense of ethics, particularly when it came to Astronema. I admit, I was disappointed that Ecliptor was reduced to dust by Zordon's energy wave, especially since he went through so much just trying to protect Astronema, but ultimately I suppose anything that was truly good about him died when Astronema was seemingly killed. On a personal note, Power Rangers in Space is my favorite season of the show. In many ways it feels like a childhood's end kind of deal, not only for the loss of Zordon and the rise of more mature storytelling in the show, but Adam's return with a broken and scarred Morpher for a last hurrah feels like a great send-off to what came before. I've got to admit, Zack as the Black Ranger was my favorite of the original 5, and while it's not Zack in this episode, seeing the Black Ranger one more time as the last Mighty Morphin team member we'd see for a while was nostalgic as all hell. To sum up the season in a single word, it's finality. The season was written with the clear intention of it being the end of Power Rangers. The stakes were larger, the stories were more complex, and the death of Zordon brought everything to a close, symbolic of a team of superheroes that no longer needed the guidance of their great mentor in order to excel. If Power Rangers had ended right here, it would have ended on a high note. However, Power Rangers in Space had brought the viewers back en masse. The ratings were higher than ever before, and there was enough support for the series to continue on. Hence, when we return next time, we'll begin discussing the Rangers' journey to the Lost Galaxy.
The world is very lucky to have you, and so am I. May the power protect you, always.
Hello my friends, please be sure to like this video, subscribe, hit the bell, and share it with others. And if you get a chance, maybe check out my Patreon.
That was Power Rangers in Space. Now, I definitely have a lot of nostalgia for this season as well. Like I said before, I do remember watching episodes of it as a kid. And I remember watching episodes even as, as recent as 2013. So, yeah, it's still just as great as I remember it being. Plus, I know I've said this before, but I love the look of all the Rangers in that season. It just, like, that streamlined look, just, oh my god, it's so cool.
Hey there folks, Future Mark here to wrap this whole thing up. For those wondering, yes, I will continue with these History of Power Rangers reaction videos. It's funny, there was that point during the Turbo videos, I forget which part, where I honestly was just thinking of quitting these after that and focusing on other projects leading up to the end of my channel. But after watching the In Space videos, I decided to just see this whole experiment of mine to the planned end. But with that being said, I do want to take a short break from this. So the next thing you can expect from me is another Dollar Tree Blu-ray haul video, and And then after that will be part 1 of me reacting to History of Lost Galaxy, along with a few other videos that I'll talk about more next time. I understand these aren't exactly the kinds of videos that most would want me to keep making, but with that being said, I actually have been enjoying making these so far. Hell, even the Turbo ones. Like, it's honestly been opening my eyes to the fact that even though Power Rangers does obviously have its sillier aspects, I mean, Turbo is that ramped up to 11, there is legitimately interesting stuff in it that is well made, despite what some may just assume from a passing glance. And I'm glad that Lewis Lovhaug is shining a light on those things, as it's given me more of an overall respect for Power Rangers. And I gotta say, that's pretty more phenomenal. Let me know what you thought of Power Rangers in space in the comments down below, and as always, if you like what you saw here, feel free to click that thumbs up button, share this video with your friends, and if you haven't already, then please subscribe. So until next time, I'm Marc Aquino, thank you all so much for watching, and may the power protect you always. Later.
Don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Marc Aquino YouTube channel.